Debbie Marcoux is licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lender Act, NMLS ID 237926. Also licensed in Arizona 0941504, Florida 76508, Georgia 69178, Illinois 031.0058339, Nevada 57237, Oregon, Tennessee 184373, Texas, Washington 237926. ID cycle points DBO 1666881, Arizona 101648.
She's a mortgage mom. She can get things done. When you're in need and don't know where to go, pick up the phone and call Mom.
All right, well, welcome to Mortgage Mom Radio. I am Debbie Marcoux, and today I've got Jennifer Davidson on with me. How you doing, Jen?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So we usually do this show at 5 p.m. Pacific time, and it is, I don't know, 10:40 or so. We're kind of going way off tune of usual. But I've got a child that is going to have ACL surgery on Friday, and we need to get this show done. So I thought, you know what? It's better to just do the show, even if it's early, than to not do the show at all, right?
I agree.
So Jen, you have been on with us before. You are the escrow officer that we send all of our refinances to. When we can, we try to get purchases to you. Unfortunately, we don't get to pick who the escrow company is for purchases, but we are going to work on a homebuyer workshop today that is all about you're in escrow, now what do you do? So I've got this workshop series that I've been doing, and we've brought people from what is escrow. We're talking not about your payment, but about the actual escrow company. Oh, but what is escrow when we're talking about your payment? So I go through all of the buzzwords, and then we, go through what do you do next, and then how do you get pre-approved, and how do you pick your real estate agent? And so we're trying to bring people into the very final stages here of this workshop. And today we're going to talk all about you have your offer accepted, you're in escrow, now what do you do? So I thought you were the perfect person to have on with me to do this workshop and to go through those very important pieces that people need to know about. Hey, I shopped for the house, got the loan, got pre-approved, shopped for the house, finally got it accepted. And we can talk a little bit about that too, because you are a brand new homeowner. Not new as far as you've owned a home, sold a home, bought a home, but you just did it in this crazy environment. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. It's crazy out there right now, right?
Oh, it's so crazy. It's, there's no words to describe.
Right.
You have to be a fighter, that's for sure, and have patience.
Exactly.
Dad's joined us on YouTube. Hi, guys.
I love it. Thanks, Dad, for joining in. I know we're off of our normal schedule, but appreciate that you jumped on early. Again, that's a good place for me too, to kind of let everybody know that if you're listening on Saturday morning by radio, remember that we do this show on YouTube. We actually record it live, take the sound and send it to radio for the weekend. We are usually on at 5 p.m., but today it's a new day. We're doing it early because we've got some surgery scheduled for Friday with the 16-year-old. Gotta love lacrosse. But if you actually subscribe to the channel, if you subscribe to YouTube, and you hit that notification bell and you click all, you will not miss us regardless of when we go on. So this is actually, I think, a good experiment too, to find out if more people can watch the show on, earlier in the day rather than later. Because you think 5 p.m. for Pacific time, or, that's what, 7 o'clock, Central time, that's 8 o'clock, Florida, where, Aunt Pam's at when she's watching.
Oh, yeah.
It is hard, I think, in the evenings, harder than maybe during the day. So this will be a good test. It'll kind of see how many people actually know that we're on and jump on and watch. But if you guys are listening on Saturdays, know that you can watch us do it live and ask us questions, be involved, put things into the feed, tell us that you're here, ask us your questions. We want to hear from you. We want to know that you're watching, and we want to answer those for you. We want you to be part of it, get in the middle of it.
We have a couple more hellos. Fabiola on Facebook says hi.
Hi, Fabiola. Thank you so much for watching.
And Chief Manny on YouTube says
All
hi.
right. Chief Manny is on. We love it. We love it.
Now that we're doing the show earlier, that means he's not working.
That's right. Well, he's not usually on because we start at 5 and
right.
he's out
He's
the door at
usually out,
5:30, right? Out the door at 5:30, not waiting for the show to be done. But he's actually up there working away, doing his thing, getting everybody's files prepared. He is our loan setup guy. and he's watching at the same time. So, hey, Manny, you might learn some new stuff today. Anyway, all right. So, Jen, this is usually our catching up with mom time, right? And me and Heidi kind of go through what's been new this week, what's been happening. So, how about you catch up with us, especially because you just sold your house and bought your house. So why don't you give me, I'm going to ask you questions and you give me things you want people to know. I think it's a really, really hard thing that's going on right now in the industry. There's very little inventory. You're offering more than, what the price is of the home. Appraisals are coming in low. Like you said, you've really got to be a fighter. So number one, how was it to sell your house right now?
Oh, it was easy. So, luckily my husband's a real estate agent, so we did not have to work with somebody directly. He did everything for us. So I think the most positive part about selling at this time is we did not have to go through our house and do every little teeny tiny cleanup thing that you normally would do when you would go to sell a house. Big push for why we decided to sell, because we went, we don't need to upgrade our backyard and dump $15,000 into it, because this is the type of market we're in, where it looked nice and it was definitely kept up, but we didn't have to do the extra special stuff. Second of all, it sold in 2 days. We had multiple offers. It went over asking price. I mean, that's what you're going to typically find with anything that you're selling right now. So it was a really easy process. Definitely wasn't easy picking who we were going to go with, but when it came down to it, we went with the highest price offer that was the most qualified. So I think that my suggestion to anybody who does want to sell now, just know that you may not have to put in as much to get out more. There's always a flip side though. When you're the buyer, you're going to give a little. So
absolutely. But I love that you bring that up, because I actually just had a girlfriend, a lot of people are relocating right now. They're all moving out of state. They're actually calling it, what are they calling it right now, Matt? They've got a word for it. It's like the great migration, right? Isn't that what they're calling it? And so my girlfriend, who has literally been doing my hair since I was 17 years old, just sold her house. She's been living in that same home for that many years. I'm not even going to go into how old I am. But, she just finally sold and she moved to Texas. And that is a very common thing that we're hearing right now. And she was so worried about, well, we can't let people come and see the house because we need, we've got some peeling paint on the door that goes out to the backyard. And, Greg really wants to repaint all the cabinets in the kitchen because we just redid them 7 years ago. They're beautiful, but they're cherry. They're not white like everybody wants. And, I kept telling her over and over again, I'm like, Lori, right now you're a seller. You do not have to do that. You do not have to put all that money into your home right now. People are going to come in and they're going to pay if they like your location, they like your floor plan, it's got good bones, it's one of the only ones on the market in your neighborhood. They're going to come in and they're going to pay for it. She had some really great things, like a beautiful backyard, a pool. They did this awesome overhang with the TV and the fan and the heaters and, everything all mounted up. I mean, so she had some really great things to her house that, were different. But, maybe it was 7 or 8 years ago that they did the remodel and, things, maybe a couple things here and there need to still be updated again, right? But I told her, I said, don't do it. Not in this market. And, she was so nervous, but she let a couple people through. I mean, like you said, she had to show the property for 1 weekend.
Same here. Exact same thing. We had 30 showings, 3 days in escrow by Tuesday, just really, really crazy. We also were getting offers before people saw the property. And that's again, kind of goes to the buying side of it. There's just, you have to be a fighter. You have to be willing to, put that offer on the line. So it was a great experience. We were happy we did it. And, flip again to the buy side is a little bit different.
Right. So here's a question that a lot of people ask, right? Is you sold your house, you obviously sold it top of market, got your gains, right? Now you go and you turn around and you buy a new home and you're flipping your gains into this new property. So people get really nervous and they say, well, yeah, I mean, I might be selling at the top of the market, but I'm buying at the top of the market. How did you feel about, buying at the top of the market? Where was your headspace in that?
So we went into it and we had a long talk with our financial planner before we did this. And we said, we're going to buy, and we know we're buying at the top of the market, but we were making a move for that 20-year home. My kids are 6 and 3. We had a starter home. We grew out of it. So this home is going to be until they leave, maybe 30 years. Who knows? They don't leave now, right? Until
They
like
don't.
they're almost
No,
30.
Manny's home. Manny's home. He makes a very good living with me at Mortgage Mom Radio, and I don't think he's ever leaving me. So
Yeah. So I say 20-year home. I'm going to guess it might be a 30-year home for us until our kids actually vacate the premises.
right. I was 17. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm getting the
me
minute I turn
too,
18.
right?
And now these kids are, he's like 20, and I'm like, we need to start saving. You need to buy a condo. And he's like, I'm good. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
You're like, I'm not good. You may be good,
I really
but
need,
I'm not good.
I really need your bedroom so that I don't have to go buy another house. I really need your bedroom.
Yeah.
Totally kidding
So
though.
we
I
looked
love
at
them.
it.
I love them. They can stay forever. You know that.
Yeah. So we looked at it as we were going into it as a long-term investment. So if we were going to be paying top of the market, we knew that, as you know, the real estate cycle ebbs and flows. It's going to dip, it's going to rise, and we're going to continually be paying down our mortgage no matter what. So we felt our investment was safe. This isn't a quick flip. This isn't a 5-year plan. So when we went into it, that was our headspace for that. So not easy, scary, it's definitely scary, but we've been now in our house almost 60 days, and we've seen an increase in a price in our house already. So we feel like,
you did okay.
if this is all it goes at, we did okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
yeah, well, and one thing that I try to tell a lot of people too is like, if you do sell your home and you flip those proceeds over to the next home, you have to think of it in essence of, I locked in my price in the year that I bought the original property. I'm taking my equity and rolling it over. So truly buy for buy, I'm buying at that other price bracket. Then I have a lot of people that will say, yeah, but now I'm buying property. What if the property values drop? My real estate taxes are going to be at the top of the market. So one thing that a lot of clients don't realize is that if property values do drop, you have the right to go to the tax assessor and ask them to lower your property taxes, because just like they reassess you every year and your property goes up in value every year, and they do bring those property taxes up slightly every time, that the property's reassessed, they can also reassess that property value for lower and bring those property taxes down. So again, you bought low, you sold high, you bought high, but you brought your equity over. So really you're at the same place. And if property values did drop, you can always get those taxes lowered. So, I think that right now, if it is something that you've been thinking about making a move, it is a lot easier to sell your home top of market, get a bunch of money out, do a larger down payment on the new purchase. Now we're talking no PMI, you've got all of those goods going for you. Interest rates are phenomenal right now, extremely low. And again, if property values drop, then you just go to the tax guy and say, hey man, lower my taxes. My property's not worth what I bought it for. And then there you go, you get another savings. So I just think, like you said, it was a 30-year plan for you. And it made sense to do it. And I'm super, super stoked that you guys did. And, I think it's great.
all the things that you were just saying is exactly what happened to us. We were in an FHA home, first time home for us that we bought 6 years ago. We rolled out. Now we have no PMI, and our payments are literally $200 more. And we purchased significantly higher than we did when we bought our home originally. So we literally just rolled that equity over, deleted that PMI, bought several $100,000 more of property for us
At a
and
lower
here we
interest
are sitting
rate. Yep.
at a lower interest rate with a payment pretty much a couple $100, no Starbucks. You can adjust your budget a little for the few $100 that is more, and you're in a 30-year home that gives you the space you need to grow into some teenage kids and all the stuff that comes with kids getting older. So
yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm so happy that you brought up the whole payment thing, because that's another thing that we do talk about on this show all the time. And it's all about, there's never a bad time to buy. There's just a bad time to sell. right? So property values had dropped significantly, not gone up significantly, and you were thinking, wow, we really need to get into the next home. Well, what do? If you don't sell, you rent it out, and then you go buy another one where the property values are low, sell that thing later when the property values go up, let a tenant make the payments for you. So there's never, ever, ever a bad time to buy. There's just a bad time to sell. But the most important thing when trying to decide, should I buy or should I not, is getting into a payment that is affordable for you. So you guys, your payment went up just a couple $100 and you felt that you could move and adjust your budget to make that work and to make that fit. It is really, really important. It doesn't matter what happens with the market. It doesn't matter where property values go. It doesn't matter if they go up or if they drop. If you can't afford the payment, then you're in a bad space. I mean, that property value could go up a ton, but if you can't afford your payment, you have to sell your house. Sure, you might make some money on it, but where do you go live? Everything else has gone up in price too, right? So it doesn't do you any good to jump into something you can't afford. And if you can afford it, even if the values do drop, you continue to make your payment, because real estate is for the long haul. Real estate is going to turn around always eventually and go back up. So even if the property values do drop, they will come back. They will go higher than where they stopped the time before, but you could afford your payment the whole time. You didn't end up in foreclosure. Property values dropped. Maybe you've got an opening, a window to go buy a couple more properties because property value is down. So it's giving you your opportunity to become an investor. So there's just so many things. And I think it's so great that, you brought that up to me right before the show started. Just bought the house, and I'm like, yeah, let's get your take on this, especially as we're doing these homebuyer workshops and trying to bring people through the process. So one thing I want to mention, if you guys are listening, if you want to give us a call, it's Saturday, your radio people, get on the calendar, talk to somebody here. If you have any questions whatsoever, it's 844-935-3634. We're going to talk about Jennifer's experience. How did she get an offer accepted? Because that is not an easy thing to do right now. Like she said, you've got to be a fighter. So we're going to go into that next. But if you are not pre-approved, you need to get pre-approved. If you've been thinking about buying a house, you need to go to our workshop. It is on YouTube. So if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, great. Thank you so much. Please give us a thumbs up and like the channel, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. That way you know when we do upload a new video. But we've got the Homebuyer Workshop series right now on YouTube. You can start at the very beginning, which is definitions and words and what do they mean. And we're going to take you all the way through the end of the process, which this is one of our very last ones. It's this one, and we've got one more. And we have literally brought you guys from start to finish through the transaction of how do I start, what do I do, and I've got keys in my hand. So Homebuyer Workshop, you just go to the playlist, and it's called, what is it? It's Homebuyer Workshop 2021, right, Matt?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. So you guys, if you're listening, go to it and watch it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys are watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, please give us a big thumbs up. That super helps our algorithm, and it makes sure that other people are getting the valuable free education that we're giving out. So really, really, well, it looks like we've got a couple of comments that we haven't said anything.
So back to the talk about Manny, Fabiola was laughing and said that's so true.
Yes, kid's never going to leave.
Dad said old at some point, but I don't know what that was in reference to.
Yes, well, maybe Manny's old. I don't know.
And then he asked, have rates dropped again after its gain?
You know what? Rates actually, so they kind of bounce around a bit. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down. I actually was trying to figure out how I could make a commercial to talk about that. But as of right now, today, interest rates are lower than where they were on average. Most of the products and programs are lower than where we were in April, beginning of April, late March. We did get kind of a spike, and then things have seemed to kind of calm down. And so if you did get a rate quote at any point in time from like mid-March to mid-April, if you may want to call again, maybe it didn't work out. Maybe the refinance didn't make sense. Interest rate wasn't quite low enough for you to move forward and pull the trigger. It might be low enough now today. We've definitely seen them come back down again, maybe a good quarter to 3/8 in rate. So you've got to check, you've got to keep your eye on things. There's a big Fed meeting today. Today is Wednesday. So again, if you guys are listening on Saturday, what I'm talking about today live on YouTube might be totally different come Saturday morning. But there's big Fed meeting today, and there'll be an announcement, and who the heck knows what that will do to rates. Rates could go screaming through the roof after today's announcement. Rates could come plummeting down after today's announcement once they decide, to let us know what their minutes were and what their plans are for the future and inflation and all that good stuff. So you'll have to check in. You guys got to call us, get an appointment, get on the calendar. But again, it is really good to know that things do move. They go up, they go down, and we are sitting in a little bit better place than we were like mid-March to mid-April. So if you did get a rate quote during that time, you might want to give us a call back and get on the calendar and see where you might be sitting today. So all right. So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and then we're going to get to this. We're in escrow. What do we do now? So with making an offer as a buyer, what do you think helped you the most to get your offer accepted? Because there are so many people right now that have just tried over and over and over, and they're competing with 30, 35, 36 offers. You said you had how many on your house?
I think we had almost 30 offers on our house. Yeah.
Right.
And we ultimately only countered 9 of those offers back and let everybody else know we were appreciative. But
right. So what do you think was the biggest factor for you in pushing forward to get your offer accepted?
So we offered over asking price, and we basically took the amount we got over our asking price, and that's what we offered over our asking price. And the reason we did that is because we were scanning the area on the closed deals and noticed the trend of how much the area was getting over the asking price. And so we figured, well, if everybody else is getting that much, I'm going to assume that that's what the seller is going to, hoping to get. So we did that. Of course, we waived appraisal contingencies, pretty much every contingency except for, I think, like a walkthrough or something like that. I can't remember what it was. We pretty
Maybe
much
your
waived
physical
everything.
inspection.
There you go. Inspection contingency.
Yeah.
They're newer homes, so it wasn't something that we necessarily were worried about, but we did want to have some sort of protection that if we walked in and was like, oh my gosh, no, this is just not going to work. There's a slab leak, something crazy. And then we also paid for quite a bit of the seller's closing costs. So,
okay.
I would be probably an anomaly because I am in the business. So I can offer to pay for those because I get a discount on those services.
Sure.
So for me, it's really a wash. I really probably it didn't really cost me a lot of money to be able to do that. But for a regular buyer, you could offer to pay for their closing costs, their escrow and title services. I mean, the seller really has no obligation to pay for any of those. It's negotiated within the contract. There's standard costs that sellers typically pay for, but the buyer is always allowed to pay for those as well. So I think that was it. The other thing is we placed our offer before we saw the house. We knew the model, we knew the area, we knew we liked it. And so we got the offer in the minute that it was on the market because we wanted to be the first in line to show that we had good faith. And then obviously we saw the property. And so did a lot of other people. So
yeah. No, I think that those are all great. And, that is something that I have seen a couple of times, but I'm happy that you brought it up, is that a lot of people, it's just standard in California that you're going to see the buyer and seller split the escrow fees, each pay their own, right? And so right now in this market, if you are really trying to make sure that you're the one getting your offer accepted, maybe you do step up to the plate and say, hey, you know what, we'll pay your escrow fee, we'll pay your title fee, maybe we'll pay those transfer taxes, that usually a seller would get stuck with. So no, that's good advice. And like you said, you've got to be a fighter right now to get that offer accepted.
So the big thing that we went in when we wrote our letter was letting them know that, we offered this amount of money. However, the closing costs that we're going to pay for you are around $7,000, let's just say offhand. So really, even if we offered $1 million, the offer price is really $1.7 million because you're not paying that $7,000 in closing costs. So that's another way, if you're concerned about your appraised value coming in and you don't want to offer too high, is paying for the closing costs, because it's not affecting the appraised value, but it is giving the seller more cash in their pocket. And at the end of the day, that's what they're looking at. However you get to them getting more money, that's what they want.
Right.
So,
Oh no, absolutely. And that's actually, I actually really like that idea, because if you think about it right now, as lenders, we're really having a difficult time getting the property values to come in at value there, because everybody's offering more money than what the last one closed for the time before. So the appraisers are having a difficult time bringing those property values in. Well, if we can get the property values down just a bit, right? We get that offer down just a bit, but instead of paying over, I'm willing to pay 20 grand over, I'm willing to pay 30 grand over, you pay 20 grand in the seller's fees, which, trust me, there are things that you can pay. There's commissions.
you can pay commission.
Absolutely.
Buyers are allowed to, so you can definitely move around that money. When we look at it in escrow, it's a debit credit system. Buyers got their side, sellers got their side. So fees can always change sides, and the value can drop so that the seller's not paying for them, the buyer is, but the seller's still netting their end amount.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Same net for the seller, but better on paper, better for the appraisal, better for the buyer, better for property taxes down the road. You bought the home at a lower price, so your taxes are based on X sales price versus X sales price, right? I love that. I think that that's great. I love that perspective. I'm happy that you brought it up. Matt, we've got some comments going, and then we'll jump into that workshop, because now people know we got to fight for it. We got the house, we got the offer accepted. Now what? We're in escrow. What do we do? So after we get to the questions, then we'll pull that up.
Sure. So Fabiola over on Facebook asked, is it better to have no debt before selling and buying, or have a little debt? We have a home, but we are interested in maybe selling and buying a new home, have around $5,000 in credit card debt.
Okay, so I know what you did, Jen. So talk about it. And I know
I
Tracy
paid down my debt.
Right.
Yeah,
Tracy did the same thing, right? Tracy, my little sister, did the same thing. So if you've got a bunch of equity in your home, obviously it's very difficult sometimes to pay the debt down when you get those credit cards racked up from life in general. And, so what did you do?
So we took a portion of the equity that we got out of our house and we paid down our debt. And so there was Debbie can run a credit simulator ratio for you, and we'll tell you where you need to pay it down to optimize your credit score. And then once we closed our home, we paid the rest of it off, because we did leave a small balance on a few of them just for the credit optimization, so we could have the highest credit score to get the best interest rate. Best thing we've ever done. It is so great to be debt free.
Yes.
So great to be debt free.
So you sold the house, you took the equity, you paid off your debt, you got yourself debt free. That probably also made it feel more comfortable to know that your mortgage payment went up $200 a month. And then you took what was remaining of your equity and you jumped that back over into the new property. So, Fabiola, if you think about it in that term, there's no reason to wait. If you've been thinking about buying a home, we're going to take all of that into account. We're going to look at your numbers, sell the house. We're going to show you how much you're going to save by paying all that debt off monthly. And then how much cash do you have left? Okay, you're going to put that into the new house, and now what do those new mortgage payments look like? And we're going to help you budget. So no, you do not need to be debt-free in order to consider doing a sell and buy. Not at all whatsoever. But again, it comes down to comfort. We do have to make sure that you're budgeting and you can afford the payment and the equity you get out of the house. You are going to be able to pay the debts off and get into the home that you want with the payment that you need. So what do? You call us, get on the schedule, talk to somebody from the team. We'll get you all pre-approved. So it's 844-935-3634. That's 844 We Lend for You. That is LEND and the number 4. Another way you guys can get on the calendar is go to mortgagemomradio.com. Right on the website, you can actually click on the book appointment, and it is a phone appointment. So you can actually book it for a day and time that works best for you. And you are going to get a phone call from my team, and we're going to go right through everything with you.
So we do have a couple more in
All
here.
right.
Fabiola says thank you. And Aunt Pam has joined, says, hiya. Hi there, girls. Hi, Manny and Matt.
I love it. Thank you, Aunt Pam.
Hello, Aunt Pam.
Yes, I love that my family watches, and that is a good time for me to tell everybody, listen in Saturday morning if you guys want to see us do it live. Just like Fabiola's been watching and asking us questions. She is interactive with us. You guys can do exactly the same thing. You've got to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and click on that notification bell so that you do know when we go live. Today was a very rare anomaly. We are usually live at 5 every Wednesday Pacific time. And I've got a kid with an ACL tear, and we're going in for surgery on Friday. So we've got to go today and do the COVID test and the blood work. And so yada, yada, yada. We are here doing our show super early. But if you subscribe to the channel, you know that we went live because you get that notification. So make sure you guys subscribe to Mortgage Mom Radio and click on that notification bell so you know when we do go live. But here we go. So I want to get into this today's workshop, and it is all about you're in escrow. Now what? What do you do? So I'm going to have Matt go ahead and pull up our PowerPoint. And I know you can't see it, Jen, but you can definitely interact as I start to bring information up about what do you do. And, you know, it took you a long time to understand what you were doing, get yourself pre-approved, get that realtor working for you. And now here you are, and you're in escrow. So now what, right? You can go ahead and click it, Matt, to the next screen. So the first thing that you need to do the minute that you go into escrow is you need to contact your lender. So this is where I come in. Very, very important. What you guys have to realize is that I cannot lock an interest rate for you until you have an accepted offer. So as long as your the seller has accepted your contract, even if it's verbally, we've got an address to lock the interest rate to. I can go ahead and put that address in the system, and I can lock in that rate. Sometimes it's not a big deal. Interest rates are kind of sitting flat every day, and we take our time and we get that contract in our hands and we get your paperwork rolling. And other times, the market is volatile, and for whatever reason, like today, the feds are having a meeting. All of a sudden there's an announcement, and we want to get you locked in because it appears that rates are going to start to go up a bit, or we're going to lose a little traction. So you need to have an address. As soon as your offer has been accepted, you need to reach out. Now, most likely you've already reached out because you needed a pre-approval letter. The real estate agent wants to make you aware that you might get a phone call from a listing agent, which is, to me, they're letting me know I might get a call from a listing agent to check your qualifications. So I've probably got a good idea that you're out there, but let me just tell you, and Jen can attest, you might be doing this for a year. You might be making an offer, not getting accepted, making an offer, not getting accepted. So I don't always know that your offer got accepted. And trust me, there have been buyers that have forgotten to call. There have been real estate agents that have forgotten to call. And you're a week into escrow, and I'm getting a call saying, how are things going? And I'm like, how is what going? So we need to make sure that you call your lender. That is number one most important thing. And Jen's going to be number two most important thing. And then a home inspection is going to be three most important things. So call your lender. Let us know you're in escrow. We're going to start talking about your interest rate. We're going to go through all of the paperwork that you've provided for the pre-approval. And depending on how old that paperwork is, we are probably going to have to get a lot of things updated. Not a lot, but we're going to have to update the pay stubs. I've got people that have rolled over from pre-approval in 2020, and now it's 2021. I need the 2020 W-2 because I didn't have it when I got you pre-approved in 2020. So we're going to get things updated. If you've had a birthday and your driver's license expired, we're going to make sure that we get that done, get that updated in the file. So very, very important. Make sure that you reach out to me so that we can start getting everything rolling, everything updated. We're going to talk about your interest rate. I'm going to get your loan disclosure started. I cannot order an appraisal. I cannot get anything moving on my end until we get those loan disclosures signed. So that is also very, very important. So again, number one thing that you do, you're in escrow, you call your lender. Number two thing that you do is you get in touch with the escrow company. So in your contract, typically the seller gets to choose who the escrow company will be. It is not, your lender doesn't get to choose. Typically your buyer's agent, your agent representing you, does not get to choose. You are usually going to give the seller that choice because you just want the seller to be able to pick, and you're hoping that they'll accept your offer because you're giving them more, of the choices to make. So more control. So you're going to get in touch with your escrow company. So number one, I have Jen here, and I know you can't see my PowerPoint, is contact your escrow officer for wiring instructions.
Yes. So the way that our process works is usually the listing agent will contact us to let us know that they have an offer accepted and I need to open escrow. I then will contact the buyer's agent for buyer contact information. Our company requirements and a lot of escrow company requirements is that we deal directly with the buyer with wire information, because there is a high amount of wire fraud in real estate transactions across the country, not just in California. So once I get the buyer contact information, I will shoot you a nice little introduction email to myself and my team, and then I will send you wire instructions. Most escrow companies will not send wire instructions outside of an encrypted email, so a secure service that they send you, so that we can make sure that you get the right wire instructions. So once you do get in contact with your escrow company, make sure that you call them to verify the wire information before you send the wire transfer. Verify routing number and the account number. Our escrow wire instructions don't have our account number on it. We do provide everything verbally. So just never, ever, ever take an email at face value when someone asks you to send in money. Always call and verify. Your deposit standard per the contract, a traditional RPA in California, is 3 business days after acceptance. So just remember, you have a due date or you will be contractually out of contract. And in the market that we're in, and we're talking about being a fighter, you've got 15 other people that are waiting on the sidelines for you to make one mistake for the seller to have the right to cancel. So if your real estate agent provides you with the escrow contact information before you get something from your escrow officer, call them. I love it when a buyer is proactive. I'm like, yes, this means you guys are going to be proactive in everything through the whole transaction. It becomes difficult on my job when I'm trying to like pull information or pull funds out of somebody. And I know that they want to buy this house and I know the market we're in. So I just want everyone to make sure that they stay on top of their timeframes and really protect your money when you go to wire transfer.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure, I'm just going to make it just super, super push this out there. Number one, 3 days is the standard in the contract. The contract can be rewritten for different time frame, but that is standard. If you do not wire your funds within that 3-day time frame, Jen, confirm for me, the seller has the right to cancel. You lose the property.
Yes, they do. You are out of contract, which gives the seller the ability to cancel the contract.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is you do not take wiring instructions by email. You call your escrow officer and you get the information over the phone so that you know that you are sending it to the right place. There is tons of wire fraud right now, email fraud, all of it. And it does happen and has happened that somebody somehow figures out you are trying to buy a home and they pretend to be an escrow company and send you wiring instructions that are not the correct instructions, and you send money to the wrong place and you do not get your money back. So please make sure you pick up the phone and you call your escrow officer and confirm the wiring info, the routing number and the account number. So those are really important. So one thing that I'm going to bring up about me, the lender, is that you need to make sure that you are wiring money from an account that I have reviewed, approved, and verified. So if you are sending money from an account that I do not know about, mom or dad are going to send the money for you, that is going to end up becoming a problem with the loan. And it's something that we need to discuss. So if it is a bank statement that you provided during your pre-approval, cool, send it away. But if it is not an account that you've ever supplied to me or your lender, and we've never seen it and we don't know about it, you need to make sure that you pick up the phone and call the lender before sending the money from the wrong place. It's very important. Okay. Here's another one that I've got on my worksheet here, my PowerPoint. Do not drop off cash.
Oh, no, we cannot accept cash. No escrow company, no matter who they are, governed by in the state of California, DBO, which has a new name, DOI or DRE, we do not accept cash.
DFI.
We can only accept DFI, Department of Financial Protection Services. It's new. They changed their name.
Yeah,
all
like
the time.
Department of
Anyways,
Financial Institution Protection Bureau.
Protection,
Something, I don't know.
I don't know what it is. Anyways, it's the governing body. It's
Yes.
our
It
ruler.
just rolls off the tongue.
It does.
It's so bad. So we cannot accept cash. We can accept 3 forms of payment for the initial deposit. It's a wire transfer. It is a cashier's check or it is a personal check. But please note, your contract specifies how you will be delivering the funds. There is a check mark in the box on the first page under part number 2, I think, where it says will be electronically transferred, will be sent by a personal check. So you do want to follow what the contract says. We prefer a wire transfer at all times because it is liquid the minute that it gets into our account, and you cannot pull it back. You can't put a stop payment. You can't request the funds back. it's liquid. So for the protection of the seller, the funds are there and in escrow and held. So yeah, that's it. No cash.
No cash.
No,
I've actually
no.
had people.
I mean,
I've actually had people try to show up to an escrow office before with cash. So speaking
Oh.
of cash, we do not allow cash that's been under your mattress or in your safe. That's not going to help you with the transaction. So again, if it is not a bank account or a bank statement that we've actually verified or that you've shown me before, you need to call and ask, is this okay? Is this acceptable? It's very, very important. Matt, I saw you looking at me. Did you have something?
No, I was just thinking, do you have a lot of people showing up with like briefcase full of money handcuffed to themselves?
Okay, I've been doing this for a long time now, and I can tell you that has actually happened a couple of times in the past. Now, they don't show up to me. Obviously, I'm the lender. They're showing up to the escrow office. Jen, have you ever had anybody roll into you with cash?
I have not had anybody come in with cash. They've called me before they came. I had one person who was going to purchase a $3 million property all cash that wanted to have our bank accept $3 million in cash. And I'm very glad that it didn't end up working out because I felt like there might have been some fraud within there. Money laundering is a big concern when you're dealing with cash. But
$3
you
million?
have to hire so because banking institutions, regular box banks don't have that much cash. So we would have had to have hired a Federal Reserve armed truck to pick up the cash and then Federal Reserve agents to count and verify validity of the cash before that we could actually accept it and deposit it into our bank account. And there was a lot of other indemnity paperwork we would have had to have signed. So it's crazy.
Yeah,
it was a very interesting request.
Yeah, but not to mention that anything over $10,000 is a big old flag for the IRS. So that person that wanted to roll in with $3 million in cash would have been, you've got to give an ID and all kinds of things to deposit cash. I mean,
it was a very long list that they could not accommodate. So I assume that there was something going on. When we hear cash, we hear fishiness. If it's not in an institutional bank, coming from overseas is even fine because it goes from institutional bank to institutional bank. But when you do anything outside of the norm, we always think fraud, money laundering, something of that nature.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No. Oh my goodness. Okay. So one thing that I don't have on my PowerPoint, but I do want to bring up because I've got you and it's a big, big deal, are the escrow instructions. How quickly from the time that escrow opens do you typically get those sent out to your buyers?
So typically, depending on our workflow
and sellers,
a couple months.
Sellers, listen.
And sellers, yeah.
Listen, because you guys owe this too, right? It's important.
Yeah, both sides will have their own sets of documentation to sign. So the contract actually says that escrow instructions are due back to the escrow office within 5 days of receipt. So I aim to get all my escrow documents out to the buyers within 48 hours of receipt of their escrow deposit. So if I got your escrow deposit today on Wednesday, my goal is to have those documents to you by Friday. You have 5 days from Friday to get them back to me per the contract.
Okay, so the most important thing about these escrow instructions is that they need to be completed. There's a lot of very important pieces of information in those escrow instructions that the escrow company needs in order to get title insurance ordered correctly. There's a lot of things that are happening that when you stall on those and you don't get them back, and especially sellers, because you guys are selling the house, it can delay the closing at the end of the transaction. So please, the minute you get these escrow instructions, get on top of them, get them filled out. Now, my favorite phone call ever is I always get a call from a buyer that says, I'm trying to fill these things out, and it's asking me questions that I don't know. Who's my lender? What's my loan balance? It's got all the loan information on it. And I always tell, and I'm probably one of those people that you hate, Jennifer. And I always tell the client, I say, write as big as you can across the entire page. Call my lender. Because it is stuff that, they don't know their loan number. They don't know what kind of loan they're getting. They don't know what, there's just so many things. I'm like, call my lender. That is okay on the loan side. But when they're asking you for your history of where you've lived over the last 10 years, because they're going to do a background check, make sure you don't have anything outstanding that could show up on title. When they're asking that information of you, fill it out, complete it, do it accurately. It is really, really important. There is not another area that you can write, call my lender on. I don't know your 10-year history. I ask you for 2 years of an address history. That's it. That's all I know. So when it comes to the loan terms, call my lender. But other than that, you guys need to take the time and fill it out. Those escrow instructions are actually very, very important. And again, sellers, finish them, get it done, because there is paperwork that needs to be completed in order to close on the home and sign it over to the buyer. And if you haven't done that work, it will actually delay things for the closing. So
yeah, I think the most important documents for buyers when it comes to escrow documents are obviously the escrow instructions themselves, because they're supplemental to the contract and we need to have those signed. But it's your vesting, and that's how you're going to hold title, because we need to provide that to Deb for the loan. It's your insurance information. If you haven't.
Oh no, we lost her. We lost her sound. Oh, are you there? There you are.
Am
We
I
got her
back?
back. We got her back. See, you guys know we're live. We're live. We're live. That's what's happening. Okay.
All right,
So start over.
I'm going to start over. So
Okay.
there are several documents within the escrow instructions that are super important for a buyer. One, obviously, is the escrow instructions, because that's supplemental to the contract. We need those signed for our file, but we need to know your vesting, which is how you're going to hold title. That's something that the lender is going to need to prepare your final loan documents. We need to know who you're going to have your insurance policy with. And Deb may handle that directly with you. A lot of lenders do now, but we also ask for it in case we need to know. Sometimes you don't even know. Yeah.
Are we back?
I think so.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, so we
I hope-
lost you too. So I don't know what's going on. I mean, again, this is live. That's what we tell people. We're always live. And you guys are watching it happen. And there's technology issues, obviously, with Zoom and everything else. But we got a lot of it. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm hearing what you're saying. Like, it is really important for escrow to get all that information. It truly is. Like that. You guys have to make sure if you're getting paperwork from somebody that you're completing it and you're getting it back within a quick amount of time, because there's information in there that Jennifer is using to process information she needs to get it to me, the lender, that I need in order to get your loan approved and your loan closed. And as a seller, you guys have to finish out a bunch of paperwork as well so that she can actually get the property handed over to the new buyer in a timely fashion as well. So very, very important. Okay, so I'm going to roll into, is there anything with escrow that I didn't mention that you feel like you're in escrow, now what? Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you feel is important for people to know?
No, money and paperwork. That's pretty much what we handle in escrow. So just make sure you get your money on time and you verify wire instructions and that you complete paperwork and call your escrow officer with any questions. It's our paperwork, so we can answer it for you a lot easier than calling Deb.
Right,
So,
exactly.
I think those are the two most important things about escrow. So.
Perfect. So I have contact your lender, get your paperwork all updated. Let's get your loan disclosures out so we can get that appraisal ordered. Let's get your rate locked in if we need to. I was mentioning that today, it's Wednesday. Today's a big day that the Federal Reserve is meeting, and you know, it could change the rates up or down depending on what it is that they announce. And during the show, while we've been recording, I received a text message. I get them once an hour on the hour, and sometimes I get them in between. And I actually got an alert to lock, which means that whatever it is that the Federal Reserve mentioned is giving us the indication that rates are going to be going up, and you should be locking your interest rate in right now. So if you have been thinking about doing a refinance, you guys are listening to this on Saturday. You're listening to something I recorded on Wednesday, and you guys need to give us a call right away and check it out and see where interest rates are at if you've been on the fence trying to get that going. If you were a client of mine right now buying a house, which I've got quite a few, I looked down for a minute, and you might have seen me do that while Jennifer was actually talking, and I took that alert to lock, sent it to Heidi, and I said, please lock all of our purchase files that came in this morning. So she is right now mad dashing through all of our loans to get anybody that is not locked in yet their interest rate locked. So it is very, very important, like I mentioned, that the minute you get that offer accepted verbally from a seller, that you're calling right away to the lender to get things rolling.
Just sorry about that weird sound glitch there, but we are back. Fabiola said, thank you. I sent this to my hubby. Got to finish watching later. Got to go. Hugs.
Aw, thank you so much. And I saw she mentioned something about the ACL too. So
Yeah.
yeah, we could talk about that later.
And so came in late, but hi there.
All right, Soleil, thank you so much for joining. We love it. All right, so last, and actually, Fabiola, thank you so much about the ACL thing. I'm going to actually read it. I see you've got something on there about your daughter and your son, and it sounds like you've been through it too. The more the advice, the merrier. So anybody out there listening that has a kid that's gone through it or they've been through it themselves, please feel free to send an email to me. You can send it right to questions@mortgagemomradio.com. You can go to the website, click contact us. That's the best way to do it. If you've got the phone app, if you don't have the phone app, get it. It's super easy to contact us. So text the word mom to 36260 to get that phone app. But I would absolutely love all of the information and advice that you'd like to give about getting my son recovered through this ACL surgery that we're having on Friday. So please feel free to send out the advice. This is one time that mom's not offering advice to you. I'm more than happy to take the advice. Please feel free to send it along. All right. So last piece of the PowerPoint, and you've got all three of these things that are really happening simultaneously. So I want to make sure that you're understanding that. You need to call your lender right away. If you're in a situation like today where we're getting an alert to lock, hurry up and get this thing done. We need to make sure we were getting you locked in if you just had a seller accept the offer this morning, even if contract's not in hand, but it's verbal. You need to make sure that you're wiring your money to escrow. So you're reaching out to that escrow officer right away so you don't have a seller that can cancel the contract on you. So make sure that you are reaching out, getting the information and wiring your deposit. And then number 3 is ordering your home inspection. So part of your contingencies in your contract, like Jennifer mentioned, the only contingency that she left in her contract, she removed appraisal, she removed loan, but she left her physical contingency of the home inspection so that she could actually bring somebody in there to make sure that everything was in place. Obviously, if there's piping problems or, things aren't working, AC isn't working, heater's not working, water heater, leak in the roof. I mean, these are things that could make or break the fact that you buy this house. So you definitely want to have that physical inspection done. You want to make sure that you get on top of that right away. What is the standard in the contract for a physical inspection? Is it 17 days, Jen?
Yeah, it's everything 17 except for loan, which is 21.
Okay. And don't
for the moment.
I see a lot of times in the contract that is one thing that they do try to speed up. So they'll take that 17 days that's normal and they'll make it 7 days, 10 days, 12 days. What do you think on average as an escrow officer reviewing all these contracts? What do you see on average?
10 days usually.
Yeah.
I'm seeing 10 days right now.
So if you have 10 days, you've got to think about it this way, guys. You've got to find the physical inspector, which a lot of times your real estate agent will have somebody that they'll refer to you, but they're all out there. You can look in Yellow Pages, Yelp, Google it. You'll find a physical inspector in your area, but you've got to get one. You've got to get it booked, and they're busy, so you need to get on their calendar. That could take a couple of days to get them out to the house. Then they're going to do their inspection, and then they've got to write a report. They've got to get that report to you. That could take another couple of days. They get the report to you and your real estate agent. Then you have to discuss that report with your agent. You need to decide, yes, we're going to move forward. No, we're not. There's just way too much work to be done. Or, hey, there's these 7 items that as long as the seller will fix them or give us a credit to fix them on our own, that we'd be happy to move forward. But this is something you need to discuss with your agent. It then needs to be put into writing, presented to the seller. Seller needs to have time to come back to you. So if you've got 10 days, it's something that you need to jump on right away, finding that physical inspector and getting that scheduled. So very, very important piece of the project. So you're in escrow. Now what? I feel like we covered it all. Is there anything, Jen, as far as the inspection goes, that you just did all of this? Is there anything, any advice that you can maybe throw out at that one?
Just remember that it's 10 days. So if your offer is accepted Friday night at 9:00 at night, day 1 is Saturday. And so it's not Monday through Friday, it's days. So that's what I would just say. Some people don't remember to think about that, but you're off and running.
You are off and running. So
yeah.
So that is our Homebuyer Workshop. I think it's number 13. It might be number 14, but it will be in the Homebuyer Workshop series on YouTube. You just have to go to that playlist. It's the 2021 series. Jen, thank you so much for being part of the show today. Really, really appreciate it. This is just the valuable information that we're trying to give out to people that watch the show, listen to the podcast, and tune in. So you guys have to tune in, watch us do it live. We want you to be, interactive with us. We loved Fabiola today. She was amazing. Soleil, she comes in from time to time. We missed Houseboat Billy, but he's probably used to our 5 p.m. time.
Probably out on the boat.
Right. He's probably out on that boat. It's daytime. But we want you guys to be interactive. We want you to watch. So you've got to go to YouTube, click, search for Mortgage Mom Radio, click on our channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and turn on all so that, days like today where we record in the morning instead of in the evening, you don't miss out. And if you guys are listening on Saturday by radio, we love you. Thank you so much for doing that and listening. If you guys want to get on the calendar, super easy. You can go to the website, mortgagemomradio.com. You can book your appointment right through the website and pick a time and a day that works best for you. If you don't see one that's good, you need a little bit later appointment, you need a little bit earlier appointment, all you have to do is give us a call and we will get that booked for you with somebody that is willing to work a little bit more outside of hours. So how do you call us? It's 844 We Lend for You. That is LEND and the number 4, 844 We Lend for You. And if you guys don't have that phone app, text the word MOM to 36260. Tons of tools in that phone app. It is super awesome and will get you just about anything you need as you are out there shopping for that new home. And before I go, I can see that there's some stuff popping up, Matt. So where are we at
and
to say goodbye?
Before we get to that, one more note. We are off next week.
That is right. So remember that next week is Memorial Weekend, which means that we are dark next week. We will not be on. So we will be back the week after that. We hope you guys all have an awesome holiday. Totally enjoy it. Enjoy your 3-day. Jen, even 60 days ago moving, I guarantee you've still got boxes to unpack.
Yep,
So I'm
for sure.
Sure you'll take the time to do that. And then we've got some last minute comments and then we'll say goodbye.
Yeah, so Aunt Pam said, you guys rock. Love the show and all the important info. I shared it on Facebook.
Love you. Thank you so much, Aunt Pam.
And Soleil says, going to rewatch. Sounds like great info. Thank you guys.
Oh, you're welcome, Soleil. Thank you again for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. And again, we just want everybody out there to get the information that they need. Jen, thank you so much for all of your advice. It was great. And I love that you just went through the process. So you brought so much more than just escrow to the table. It was amazing. And we'll absolutely have you on again. You're always awesome. I love it. So we hope you guys all have a fabulous, fabulous rest of your weekend. And again, if you're in the middle of a refi, you haven't locked, if you just got an offer accepted, haven't locked, or you've been thinking about doing a refinance and want to get it started, we've got an alert to lock. So what do? You hurry up, get on the phone. It's 844-935-3634. Literally call us right now and talk to one of my loan officers. Get your application in. Let's get you locked in before rates go through the roof. So it's 844-WE-LEND for you. That is LEND and the number 4. And we'll be back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.